Look at him, eating whatever he wants, never gaining a pound. While I'm stuck with the boring special and can't lose an ounce.
How's your lunch, man?
Amazing. Yours?
So good.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Cool, buddy.
Weight loss isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. The affordable GLP-1 source that can fix your frustration with food.
So, same time next week?
No!
Definitely.
And your friends. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Shopify. Starting a business is filled with a lot of what-ifs. What if I fail? What if nobody listens to the podcast? What if nobody cares? It can definitely be hard to get over that doubt and uncertainty, but making that leap was one of the best things I've ever done, and it's great to know that I'm not alone with a business partner like Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Heinz and Mattel to brands just getting started. And I'm telling you, their tools really do feel like you have a business partner. They have hundreds of ready-to-use templates to help build a beautiful online store that matches your brand. You can also get the word out like you have an entire marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And if you get stuck, Shopify is always there to help with their award-winning 24/7 customer service. It's time to turn those what-ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/justice. Go to shopify.com/justice. That's shopify.com/justice.
Voices for Justice is a podcast that uses adult language and discusses sensitive and potentially triggering topics, including violence, abuse, and murder. This podcast may not be appropriate for younger audiences. All parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Some names have been changed or omitted per their request or for safety purposes. Listener discretion is advised.
My name is Sarah Turney, and this is Voices for Justice. Today, I'm continuing my coverage of the disappearance of DeOrr Kunz Jr. Last week, I told you about the early investigation into DeOrr's disappearance. If you haven't heard part 1, stop right here and go back and listen to that first, or this episode won't make much sense. But to recap, on July 9th, 2015, DeOrr's parents, Jessica Mitchell and Vernal Kunz Sr., drove with him to a campsite near Leadore, Idaho. There, they joined Jessica's grandfather, Robert Walton, or Grandpa Bob. He was also there with his friend Isaac Reinwand. That night, according to all the adults there, they camped without incident. The next day, on July 10th, Jessica and Vernal left DeOrr with Grandpa Bob while they went fishing nearby. When they got back, DeOrr was missing. Grandpa Bob said that he thought that DeOrr was with them. They searched for about 20 minutes before calling 911 around 2:30 p.m. Within hours, dozens of searchers, later hundreds, scoured the area using canine units, ATVs, divers, horses, and helicopters. But no sign of DeOrr or anything he was wearing or had with him was found. His case hit the media pretty fast, and the leading theories were really that there was an accident, an abduction, or some type of negligence or foul play by the adults at the campsite. The family also hired 2 private investigators, both of which said that the parents were innocent, until they later publicly said that they thought the parents may have been involved. It was around that same time that Lemhi County Sheriff Lynn Bowerman named both Jessica and Vernal as suspects, and that his case really shifted from a missing persons case to a possible homicide. That's where part 1 of this case ended. So let's jump right back in with part 2 of the case of DeOrr Kunz Jr. Now, I do want to dive a little bit deeper into the reasons that Sheriff Bowerman gave for naming Jessica and Vernal as suspects. Again, we're in about January 2016 at this point, so about 6 months after DeOrr went missing. And he tells the East Idaho News, quote, "Their timeline keeps changing. Where they were at keeps changing. And movements and statements about DeOrr Jr. keep changing. Their statements don't match. And it's frustrating because we have absolutely no idea where DeOrr is. There have been so many inconsistencies that it's hard to tell the truth from everything they've said." End quote. He added that they failed at least one polygraph test, stating that they couldn't pass the section asking if they knew where DeOrr was or what happened to him. Now, Sheriff Bowerman also discusses how he doesn't think DeOrr was kidnapped from the site due to how remote the area was. And he argues that if an animal had taken him, he believes there would be some type of evidence left behind, like possibly the oversized cowboy boots he was wearing. He fully believes this is a homicide, and added, quote, "We've given them too many opportunities to tell us what happened if it was an accident. There's been no interest in going that direction. So that tells me there's only one other possibility, that it has to be a homicide." End quote. This really changes everything in DeOrr's case. While I told you last week that there were certainly people who suspected his parents early on, having these statements from the sheriff really added fuel to that fire and those theories. And it didn't help that around that same time, their former private investigator, Frank Vilt, released his resignation letter to the media. It reads in part, quote, "Dear DeOrr and Jessica, as I previously informed you today, via my text to your cellular telephone at 8:31 a.m., I am withdrawing from the investigation because of circumstances beyond my control, including but not limited to a breach of trust on your part concerning your refusal to allow me to make this case national. I am perplexed as to why you did not want me to advertise the $20,000 reward. I was willing to put up personal funds in hopes that the public could provide information leading to the whereabouts of your son. When I agreed to assist you, I informed you that I would work for my out-of-pocket expenses. I was willing to forego my normal hourly fee. My stipulation was that both of you would be absolute truthful. I told both of you that if I felt like you were not telling the truth, stalling me, or otherwise misleading me, that I would withdraw from the investigation. In my professional opinion, both of you lied and misrepresented the true facts that could solve the mystery of your missing son. There are other aspects of this case that I cannot go into at this time. But simply put, I believe that the searches will all be non-productive. The searches are only used by you to cover a possible crime that one or both of you may have committed. My suggestion is that you fully cooperate with the Lemhi County Sheriff and tell the truth. I do not appreciate the fact that one or both of you are spreading rumors that you have paid me. I have not received reimbursement to cover my expenses. I also feel that you are exploiting the public for financial gain. How can you live with yourselves? Sooner or later, the truth will come out." End quote. So, Sheriff Bowerman names them as suspects. Their former PI basically directly accuses them of murdering DeOrr, or at least covering up some type of accident. And then another person begins speaking out, or at least agrees to their first ever media interview. And that is none other than Isaac Reinwand, Grandpa Bob's friend who was at the campsite that day.
What have the last 6-7 months been like for you, Isaac?
Really boring, kind of quiet. Not a whole lot to do in Idaho Falls.
What have your thoughts been over the past, I guess, today and yesterday when the sheriff released the new information?
At first, I was kind of sketchy about talking to anybody, but then, the way the social media has been and everything, I thought, if I talk to the police and everything, maybe everything will cool down a little bit. Maybe they'll get closer to solving this case.
Were you surprised that the parents were named as suspects?
Yeah, actually, I kind of was a little bit.
Why is that?
It's just, just because of all the theories and everything that's been going around, it doesn't feel like or seem like anybody knows what's going on.
Well, a lot of people thought that you were involved.
Yeah, that I am aware of.
What would you say to those people that think you somehow had something to do with his disappearance?
I'd say just, a lot of people, they don't know me, so the unknown is scary, so what they don't know, people are afraid of. So I just have to say, just because a person looks some way, you shouldn't judge them just because of how they look.
What do you remember what happened up there?
I don't want to comment on that.
Do you remember the last time you saw little DeOrr?
No comment.
Okay, but he was up there.
Yes, that he was.
He was up there. You saw him. You know he was there.
Yes.
And after he went missing, what was it like up there? I mean, I'm sure that all the search and rescue crews showed up to look for him, and then the volunteers showed up. Did you think he'd be found quickly and you'd be able to head on home?
That's what I was figuring, that he'd be found, yes.
And then when he wasn't, and days turned into weeks, into months, what went through your mind?
I thought maybe he was abducted, or I didn't really know what to think.
Mm-hmm. But you had nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
Do you know anything as far as Robert Walton, the grandfather?
All I can say about Robert Walton is he's always been a good friend to me. We've gone fishing on fishing trips many occasions, camping. So.
And you guys met before all of this took place, right?
That's correct.
And are you still friends today?
I haven't heard from Walton all winter long.
Have you heard how his health's doing? We heard it's not doing very well.
That's what I've heard. I heard he's on oxygen. So.
Do you think that how has this experience kind of changed your life? Has it?
A little. I'm a little bit more, I try to be a little bit more skeptical about what's going on around me and the public. It's just people can change at the blink of an eye, and you don't even realize until it's too late.
Did you lose any friends over this?
I'm sure I have, but right at this point, I'm not sure who. That's something I'm going to have to figure out down the road.
Do you have any idea where DeOrr could be?
I do not.
I guess you're hoping he's found.
Yes, I am.
But a lot of people have these theories that you, like I said, that you had something to do with it, that you're the man behind this.
I generally try to be nice to everybody, try to be a good guy, try to help people out as much as I possibly can. If somebody's in a bind and they need a place to stay for a day or a couple of days, I try helping people out with that too. I fix bicycles and on the side, and I give them away, and so I generally just try to be a good person to everybody.
So we're hearing from you for the first time. Is there a reason you've wanted to be quiet?
It was mostly just because of how the social media was reacting, and my attorney, my lawyer, always said that it might be better not to say anything until they know exactly what's going on in the case.
Any idea where it goes from here?
Hopefully they can. I'm gathering they'll be able to solve this case within, the next week, the next month, and we can all put this behind us and move on.
Are Jessica and DeOrr your friends? Did you know them before all this?
No, I did not.
And so you really only spent a couple hours with them once you got up there?
More like a couple days.
Couple days, all right.
Where were you when you first heard that someone was missing? Like, what were you doing? And what was going through your mind, as soon as you heard that?
Were you fishing?
Was I fishing?
Yeah, were you downstream when you heard?
Yeah, I'm not supposed to disclose any information still. I've been asked not to.
I guess that will all come out in court.
Exactly.
How has it been knowing in your mind what you know, what police have told you, and not being able to tell anyone? I mean, have you kind of been saying, why is everybody picking on me?
I felt that kind of way. And then I thought, too, it's just because the way the media sees it and everything, looks like I haven't been cooperative with the police, and they don't know what's going on.
But that's not true, you're saying.
Right.
DeOrr just were arrested today. What would you say?
I said I would really be surprised, because I wouldn't think somebody like those two would do something like that,
So all along you thought they didn't really have anything to do with it either.
Right. I thought maybe, he got abducted, or a wolf or something might have drug him off. That's what my opinion is.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ask you to have a story? Did DeOrr or Jessica coach you?
No, they did not.
So they just came back and said he's missing. Search and rescue shows up, and you're doing your thing. Did we miss anything? Anything you want to say?
No, there's nothing else that I would like to say. I'm good.
I mean, really, in my opinion, it's not the most dynamic interview by any means. But for the sake of putting everything that we know out there, I just wanted to play it for you. Now, the hits really just keep coming for Jessica and Vernal, because in January 2016, their second PI, Philip Klein, makes a bombshell announcement. He says that Jessica told him and his team that she knows where DeOrr is.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
In January 2016, the family PI, Philip Klein, tells the world that Jessica told his team that she knows where DeOrr's body is, but won't tell them exactly where. He also says that Grandpa Bob, Robert Walton, admitted that he believes some type of accident happened at the campsite, but also won't provide details. Now, as if all of that wasn't enough, Klein has more new information. He says that a cadaver dog made a positive hit on certain equipment in the initial weeks of the investigation. Here he is describing the 3 phases of his investigation to the East Idaho News.
There were 3 phases to this investigation so far. First, we wanted to start this investigation from the ground up. We didn't want influence from law enforcement. We didn't want influence from family. We didn't want influence from anybody. All we knew is there was 4 people on a mountain, a child went missing, okay? So what we did was we went back and we rebuilt this case from ground zero out. And we interviewed probably over 150 witnesses, followed up on, I think it's 300 tips. We have declared it now an accidental death / homicide. That's what we suspect, and we base it on a few things. And I want to go over those things very clearly, Nate, because I'm giving you this exclusive interview, and I want to make sure that it gets out to the public because there's a lot of public conjecture at this point. I want to announce for the first time that we, law enforcement and the FBI, has interviewed Vernal Kunz, the father of DeOrr, 9 times. He's been given 9 interviews. None of the stories he has told has matched or has even been verified. And that is very disturbing for us as investigators. He's given us a story. He's given us a timeline. When we go out and we try to prove up or actually just basically prove up simple things in the timeline, it falls apart, and it falls apart quickly.
Can you give us some examples of those inconsistencies?
Sure, I can. Let me go through this, and I'll do that for you. We can't even match simple things like filling up with gas at a local store, a diesel store, up in Leadore on the day of the event. Where he clearly says that the gentleman who was pumping the gas actually saw the child. Well, we interviewed the guy that was supposedly had seen the child, and he clearly comes back and says, I don't remember seeing a child. Could have been there, but no. Simple things like a dog in the back of the pickup truck or in the back seat. There was no dog. I mean, these little things that investigators look at as simple things, Vernal has not been able to verify or not verify with us. She's given 5 interviews to law enforcement. None of the stories she's told us has matched. In fact, she changes her story depending upon what day it is and what day we talk to her. And so that's very, very disturbing to us. We can't even verify basic information that Vernal tells us, and then she tells us at the same time she's supposed to be there, and neither of their stories match. And it's not even close, as a matter of fact. So that bothers us tremendously. eyewitnesses that we've talked to that they have listed, from guys who distribute the beer to the clerk at the store to the person that pumped the gas to the basic timeline information. They tell Vernal and Jessica tell us one story, but then the witnesses say, no, that never happened. Here's what did happen. And no, we never saw a child. So we take all of that and we come back to them with, okay, tell us what really happened here, because all these witnesses you have given us, they don't match. And so they tell us the story. And again, we say, okay, we just go into shock trauma, that you're very shocked, you're traumatized. We go out again. And we try to re-verify with different witnesses this time. In some cases, some of them are going, we don't even know who these people are. What are you talking about? And not only that, but it comes down to simple things like, oh, they played with DeOrr at the store. Well, we talked to the witnesses before and after who purchased items. They didn't even see a child. They didn't play with a child. That brings concern to us and brings us to the question of, why would they lie to us? Why would they not just tell us the truth? We add that into Vernal going in for 5 polygraph tests. 5 polygraph tests from different polygraph test administrators, state, local, and federal government. And the bottom line to that is Vernal not only failed all 5, he failed all 5 in the 99th percentile. And that is hugely disturbing to us. He can't even pass a non-control question. Are you going to tell us the truth today? He flunks it. And not only does he flunk it, he doesn't just spike in his polygraph test. It's like a wave. So that disturbs us tremendously. Then we move to Jessica, and we get Jessica 4 different tests. Law enforcement does. And Jessica fails not only to the 99th percentile, but she can't even pass simple control questions. And that's not because she's nervous. She's able to pass her name. She's able to pass where she is today. She's able to pass the certain questions that are no-brainer questions, but you didn't even come close to what happened to DeOrr, or are you going to tell the truth today? And she fails so bad. In my 26 years, I've never heard of a person failing that bad. Fourth, today we're going to announce today that there was a cadaver dog interaction with certain equipment at the site, and that cadaver dog did hit positive. I can't go any further than that, other than to say that we do have a cadaver dog that did hit in the initial 2 weeks of the primary investigation.
And this wasn't up at the reservoir concerning the cremains, was it?
I'm not going to discuss where it was or the circumstances around it, because it will be an integral part of the prosecution, and I don't want to hurt the prosecution, but a cadaver dog did hit. And that has never been announced before. We're announcing it today because we feel the public needs to know. Let's continue for just a couple of minutes. And I am going to announce to you today that Jessica herself has told investigators on our team she knows where the body is, but she will not go all the way and finish her story. This has been very disturbing to us. We have attempted to work with Jessica tremendously. We have offered to fly her to Texas to give her the opportunity to get away from Idaho, because she's scared of some situations. Of what, I don't know. I believe some of it is paranoia that is set into her at this point, because she knows that the walls are closing in around her. But I will announce today that Jessica herself has told our investigators that she knows where the body is, and she's not going to go all the way and say anymore. That is a huge piece of evidence in this case. We're very, very concerned about it. We've asked Jessica privately, and now we're asking Jessica publicly to come in and tell law enforcement and tell us the real story of what happened. Also today, we are willing to announce today that in our interviews with the grandfather, he did admit to investigators there was an accident. He believes there was an accident. He will not go all the way and tell the complete truth of the story at this time. However, we are willing to announce, as we announced yesterday, that Isaac Renoir has given us some statements. We are currently vetting those statements and those proffers at this time. And as soon as we're done vetting those proffers, and as soon as we are done vetting what he has told us in his interviews, we may have a further announcement at that time, or at that time, I think it would probably come from law enforcement.
When Jessica says she knows where the body is, has she given you any suggestions or tips as to where that could be?
She has broke down in an interview with us. I understand that she has broke down in an interview with law enforcement and has let them all know that she does know, in fact, where the body is.
Could she be criminally charged now that she said that?
I'm a civil investigator at this point. I see a lot of problems for Jessica and Bernal. First of all, lying to federal agents. They have done extensive interviews with the FBI and the task force. The story they gave them can't even be closely vetted. I can't even closely be told the truth. If it was an accident to which, we're split on our team, we're definitely not split on there was a death. We're split on our team whether or not it was an intentional homicide or whether or not it was an accident. I'm tending to lean towards it was an accident, but there would be some laws regarding what they did with the body, not reporting an accident, those sort of things. We're publicly asking Vernal, and we're publicly asking Jessica, and we're publicly asking Jessica's grandfather, Bob, to just, let's bring this to an end. That's enough. I mean, enough of lying, enough of trying to mislead investigators, enough of getting on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these things and trying to mislead the public. I am just very frustrated with Vernal. I'm very frustrated with Jessica. I'm very frustrated with their inability to tell the truth. I'm frustrated with them trying to mislead investigators, not only on our side, but FBI, who you don't mess with. I mean, I'm just warning you right now. When an FBI agent asks you a question, you be honest. If you don't know, say, I don't know. And they're giving the FBI some rabbit trails. And then, of course, to the fine people in Bonneville County and Lemhi County and how they are stuck in the middle of this, trying to just get them to tell the truth.
So when investigators confront them about these inconsistencies, do they double down or does their story change again?
Well, the story changes. I mean, they don't ever double down. They just, oh, well, I forgot that part. Yeah, well, maybe he didn't see it. Well, then why'd you tell me in the first place? Well, because, well, I don't know. It goes off into a world that, you can't be dumb all the time. I mean, this is you can't act like you're dumb all the time. You know what happened. You were there. You were with the child. I mean, even things in the timeline, such as where was the blanket? Where was the sippy cup? Where was it? Nobody can tell the truth. And quite frankly, their stories all break down at 8 o'clock in the morning. The only time their stories are true and correct and we can verify is that when the night before and that evening, and then after the 911 call, everything can be verified. However, between 8 o'clock in the morning and 1:26 in the afternoon, 2:26 in the afternoon, I'm sorry, when the 911 call was made, we can't verify anything. I mean, nothing, zero. I mean, don't know.
I know that was another long one. But again, I really do want you to hear from the people who were shaping the public opinion of this case. I feel like it just says so much more than just my interpretation of what they said. That way you can hear all the certain word choices and inflection. Now, Philip Klein actually stayed on the case paid for by DeOrr's family for a while longer after this interview, until they finally fired him in March 2016. Though after his termination, he pledged to continue to work on the case, stating that someone who wished to stay anonymous was funding the investigation. And as he suggested, as the weather began to warm up, there was another search for DeOrr that spring near the campground that lasted for 2 weeks, but nothing was found. The following month, there's another huge bombshell. Philip Klein announces that he and his team found DeOrr's camouflage jacket that he was wearing when he went missing. This episode of Voices for Justice is brought to you by Quince. I've been trying to be more intentional about what I wear each day. I'm leaning into pieces that feel effortless, comfortable, and still put together, and Quince has been my go-to. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are flattering, and everything just works without overthinking it. They use premium materials like 100% European linen, organic cotton, and ultra-soft denim. And the best part? Everything is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories and cut out the middlemen, so you're paying for quality and craftsmanship, not brand markup. I recently just ordered their tiered linen dress, of course in black. I wanted to pair it with one of my favorite pairs of brown wedges. The problem was, I didn't have a brown purse. So I got that from Quince too. It's one of my favorite outfits. It's easy, effortless, and feels amazing, especially as we're getting a little bit warmer here in Phoenix. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/justice for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/justice for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/justice. This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Chewy. If you have pets, you probably know about Chewy, and you also know that when they say that they have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, they're not messing around. To keep them happy, Chewy has over 100,000 products from all the brands my pets love at prices I love. To keep them healthy, Chewy offers pet prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and they're even rolling out vet clinics across the country. I've been shopping with them for a very long time. And in addition to the auto ship feature that gets the dog's food to them every single month, I also love to experiment with different treats. But I'm a bit picky. For me, it has to be high quality with simple ingredients. I recently picked up treats from Shepherd Boy Farms that are 100% just chicken breast. Popcorn and Heber are already obsessed. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. And right now, you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. That's chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. After DeOrr Kunz Jr. has been missing for about a year, private investigator Philip Klein makes another bombshell announcement. He says that he and his team went to DeOrr's family home in Idaho Falls after they were evicted. And while they were looking through some furniture and clothing that was left behind, they found a camouflage jacket that they believe belonged to DeOrr. It also matched the description of the jacket his parents say he was wearing when he went missing. They also found 4 Matchbox cars, which investigators say his parents also claimed were missing. According to reporting by KBOI News, Jessica and Vernal were evicted for not paying rent, and the landlord allowed investigators to search through everything that was left behind at the apartment. Now, all of this was turned over to the Lemhi County Sheriff's Office. And at this point, Klein says that he now believes that whatever happened to DeOrr may have occurred at around 5 p.m. on July 9th. The day before he was reported missing. As a reminder, in that audio I played for you earlier, he said that all the stories from all the adults who were at the campsite appeared to be cohesive until about 8 a.m. on July 10th. So take that for what you will. He's not telling the media everything, so it seems like there might be something here that made him change his mind not long after that interview. But either way, in the end, nothing came from that. They were never able to prove that it was the jacket that DeOrr was wearing when he went missing. And while the sheriff's office has been vague about which items they have tested, it does seem like they've sent quite a few items off for that testing. But again, in the end, nothing came of any of this. Now, that same year, Jessica and Vernal do break up and go their separate ways, really only keeping in contact to talk about DeOrr's case. And according to Vernal, due to all the public scrutiny, he leaves Idaho Falls altogether. By the end of the year, there was also another major shift in Lemhi County. Sheriff Len Bowerman retired, and Steve Penner, who was chief deputy when DeOrr went missing, takes over. So he's new to being sheriff, but not new to DeOrr's case. And really, just like the PIs, the sheriffs in DeOrr's case also greatly shape how it's been viewed. But we'll get to that. DeOrr's case is pretty quiet for the next few years or so. In 2017, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children created an age-progressed photo for what DeOrr may have looked like at age 4. And People Magazine Investigates airs an episode about his case. On the third anniversary of his disappearance in 2018, there's a walk in DeOrr's honor, and Sheriff Steve Penner says that there are no new developments in the case, but that it remains very active. That same year, DeOrr's maternal grandmother, Trina Clegg, parked her SUV at the Eastern Idaho State Fair, and while inside, someone shattered the back window featuring case information and DeOrr's picture. It said, "One wish, one dream, DeOrr J. Kunz," along with 2 photos of him. Witnesses did report seeing a group of people in a red, possibly 1990 to 1996 Ford pickup smash the window. And while a police report was filed, they never found out who did it. At this point, there really was this outpour of support for her, and many companies offered to replace the glass and vinyl for her free of charge. There were also some fraudulent fundraisers posted online in her name. Now, it may seem like a small detail, but I think it's the perfect example of how split this community was, and really how enraged they still were that DeOrr was missing. The next year, 2019, Robert Walton, or Grandpa Bob, passed away from cancer at age 80. If he truly believed that DeOrr died from some type of accident, he took that information with him to the grave. That same month, the Lemhi County Sheriff's Office closed part of the Timber Creek campground for another search related to DeOrr's case. And at that time, Jessica, Vernal, and Isaac Reinwan give exclusive interviews to KTVB News. But unfortunately, unlike the interviews I played for you thus far, these interviews aren't available in full. They're really kind of sprinkled in bits and pieces in the special about DeOrr's case. But I do want to play you what I can, specifically Jessica and Vernal talking about being offered immunity after Klein's allegations.
Were you offered immunity?
Yes, I was. And I told them no, because they offered me immunity if I told them where the body was. And I said,
who's they?
Bonneville County, FBI, and I believe it was Lemhi County too.
So did they then thought you did it? They wanted to offer you immunity if you confessed and showed them where the body was?
Or if I had any knowledge of somebody doing it and me knowing where the body was. And I told them, yeah, I would love to sign this, but I don't have any information for you, so I'm not signing anything.
What was the immunity again? Was it a get out of jail card?
That's
what Klein
was
said.
Like child endangerment or something like that, and probation. Something super small. And I said, well, that's all great and fine, but I don't have anything to tell you. I don't know. I would have come out with it a long time ago if I knew.
Have you ever been offered immunity? There was talk of that.
Oh, that was Klein, but again, yeah, Klein did, but if somebody comes to you and offers you immunity, you don't have any more information to give them. It really doesn't do you any good.
Throughout this special report, they also allude that Isaac Reinwan may have done something to DeOrr, or at least knows more than he's saying. Jessica says that from day one she saw red flags. She said Isaac was gone for longer than anyone else, and when they began looking for DeOrr, he wouldn't help with the search. She specifically says that he was drinking and stayed in his tent while they were doing those searches. She also alleges that he factory reset his cell phone 3 times since DeOrr went missing. As far as a possible motive, Jessica said that he was upset that DeOrr was there in the first place and asked Jessica why they would bring such a young child camping. Others have said that Isaac may have done this because he was obsessed with Jessica, and they do ask Isaac if he did anything to DeOrr in this special, and he denies all the allegations. He's also asked if he thinks Jessica or Vernal could have done something, and he says that he'd rather not say, and that pointing fingers isn't nice or right. Now, by this time, Philip Klein was off the case, but Vernal had since hired a third private investigator. His name is David Marshburn. He, Vernal, and Sheriff Penner went up to the campsite that same year, and they say 2 cadaver dogs alerted on a downed tree with animal claw marks and blood near the campground. However, after authorities searched the area, nothing was found. We also get a statement from Sheriff Penner here. Again, remember he worked for the first sheriff who named Jessica and Vernal as suspects. But Penner doesn't seem to follow that same line of thinking. He says, quote, "Other people have called them suspects, but I'm not committed to that theory. You can't just pursue one theory. End quote. Officially, he says that Jessica, Vernal, Isaac, and Bob are persons of interest. So take that for what you will. During this interview, Vernal and Jessica both say that they know how it looks, but reiterate that there's been no evidence pointing to their involvement in DeOrr's disappearance. Vernal specifically says that he's been threatened, lost jobs, and was denied housing after a landlord Googled his name. In the special, Vernal shows DeOrr's stuffed monkey and says he's never washed it and takes it along with him and flyers for DeOrr everywhere he goes. The same year, in 2019, Vernal sued Philip Klein for defamation. He says Klein was trying to frame him for DeOrr's murder, but the case was thrown out. And this third PI, David Marshburn, also supports Jessica and Vernal, even to this day. He says he doesn't believe either parent was involved. Instead, he points to Isaac Reinwand.
What they did to your family, you're lucky to make it out alive.
Streaming on Peacock.
These men are going to come after me. Taking them out is my only chance.
Put a bullet in her head. From the co-creator of Ozark.
Looks like a family was running drugs.
Execution-style killing is rare for the Keys. Any leads on who they might have been running for?
The cartel killed my family. I'm gonna kill them. All of them.
MIA. Streaming now. Only on Peacock.
By 2020, DeOrr's case is still open and active, and there is another search for him in June, but again it comes up empty. At this point, 5 years later, there's mostly just a lot of finger-pointing. The first two PIs and first sheriff who worked the case point to Vernal and Jessica, while the second sheriff refuses to name anyone at the campground that day a suspect. Jessica, Vernal, and their third PI, David Marshburn, point to Grandpa Bob's friend, Isaac. There's a lot of media, a lot of speculation, but not really any answers. On the 7th anniversary of DeOrr's disappearance, Philip Klein goes back to the media to say that he and his team are rejoining the case. He has a new client who's offered them funding to do so. He also says that they are currently raising more funds for travel and lodging. But again, nothing really happens. Then in 2024, a lot happens. Vernal's lawyer files a slander lawsuit against a woman named Callie Pearson. She's from the Justice for Baby DeOrr Facebook group. They say that she was spreading misinformation and that her actions had pushed Vernal to nearly die by suicide. They also say that she was paying for ads to also spread this false information. That lawsuit was settled at the end of 2024. As a part of the settlement, Vernal agreed to drop the suit if Pearson and another person from the group agreed to stop spreading misinformation. Pearson also agreed to publicly apologize for making baseless, false claims against Vernal and to stop fundraising for Philip Klein. And like I said, you guys, a lot happens in 2024. That same year, there was also a possible new piece of evidence found. David Marshburn is back in the picture, and he and his team went back to the campsite and searched a nearby mountain that had never been searched previously. They find what he describes as a two-toned fleece pullover that had blood stains on it, and also had animal claw, scratching, and bite marks on it. He says he thinks something was wrapped in this blanket that an animal was trying to get to, and he estimates that the jacket was manufactured around 2014 or 2015, which would obviously fit the timeline. And who allegedly wore a jacket like this? Well, according to Jessica, Isaac Reinwand may have. So this is all turned over to the sheriff's office, it's sent off to the lab for testing, and unfortunately, they can only pull a partial DNA profile. According to the sheriff's office, it just wasn't enough to say if it belonged to DeOrr or anyone at the campsite that day. This, and really DeOrr's entire case, is so frustrating. As of recording this episode, it's been 10 years since DeOrr went missing. The evidence is limited, but the accusations are plenty. So, where is DeOrr's case today? Well, Vernal, Jessica, and Isaac Reinwand continue to state that they are not responsible, and there is a new sheriff on the case, a man named John Bennett. Like Penner, he's been there since day one. He was one of the divers in the initial search for DeOrr. He also says that he does not consider anyone a suspect in this case, that all 4 adults at the campsite are just persons of interest, and that no solid evidence has ever been found. But what about the PIs? Well, Philip Klein and David Marshburn recently interviewed with Nate Eaton with the East Idaho News. Philip Klein says that DeOrr was at the campsite that day, which is one of the most common theories in this case, that DeOrr wasn't even there. According to Klein, he believes that DeOrr was there because Grandpa Bob said he was. Now, he doesn't believe anyone killed DeOrr maliciously. He says he believes all of this was a horrible accident, that one of their vehicles ran over DeOrr and killed him. He says there was a blue cooler at the campsite that has never been recovered, and that this was used to dispose of DeOrr's remains before the authorities arrived. He says he believes Bob knew this but was sworn to secrecy, and that Isaac Reinwand is completely innocent. He says his story has never wavered. Now, I do want you to hear directly from him as to why he believes Jessica and Vernal are covering something up.
Where the lies begin is right after at the gas station where they say they picked up pizza and Cokes. If you're picking up pizza and Cokes, why would you get over Leadore and go get something to eat? I mean, that's one of the big faux pas in this case. We've never released that before.
Was that on the way, Philip, that they said they stopped for pizza and Coke?
Yep.
On the way up to the campsite the night before?
On the way to Leadore. Yep.
Okay.
And that kind of, and we've never really released that before, but that's all in the past now. We can release a lot of this stuff now. And so that kind of had all 9 investigators going, what? You know, okay, you had pizza and Coke, and then what, 30, 45 minutes down the line through the valley and up the hill, and there's Leadore. You're stopping because you're hungry and you're going to get something to eat, and everybody's super hungry. That was one of their big stories, was that, oh, we were so hungry, so we were going to stop. And well, why would you stop then? I mean, was the pizza a snack? Well, how much pizza did you buy? We did find the receipt too. And the receipt was two pizzas were bought.
Yeah.
Bought pizza. So, and then of course we get to the aftermath of everything again, back down at the, down there at, I believe it's called the stage stop or the stop, down there, and all these stories about DeOrr taking, or Vernal taking little DeOrr and putting him on the truck, and going back to see the beer truck man, and the beer truck guys are like, no, that never happened. We never saw him, but we never saw his child. And then, by the way, was there a big 18-wheeler sitting out there? No, there's never an 18-wheeler. So all these stories that they tried to fluff up to make themselves feel better and to make you and me believe in what they were saying, and especially the clerk at the store, when we got the receipts and we got the videos and, you know, this stuff about the tampons that she needed, but yet it wasn't bought till the second purchase. They never told us there were 2 purchases. They always told us there was 1 purchase, never 2. We asked the question to them. We got it on video. What purchase? Well, it was only 1 purchase. Okay. Why do we have receipts for 2 purchases? And of course, then they go ashen white and go, oh, well, first were for the candies, and the second one was for the tampon and the adult stuff. And then you go, but there's candies on the adult stuff. Well, we might have forgotten something.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, we don't understand. Look, and of course, the most shocking one was the one where they went to go get green diesel for the truck. And so, we talked to that young man, and he was a great witness. He said, I remember like it was yesterday. Okay, tell us what's going on. And he said, well, no, I filled it up, but boy, they tried to keep me talking. They kept me busy. I said, well, did you see the child's chair behind the mama? Yeah. Was there anybody in it? No.
And that was on the second day, right, that they were there?
Second day.
Yeah.
That's when we knew we had the timeline set, where we knew he went up, right? We knew he went up, but we don't have him past going up to the top of the mountain. And that's why we think she broke down with Caroline and pointed to the mountain and said, that's where we took him. That's where he is.
Jessica said that.
And that's why. And so Jessica, I think, had just had enough.
He says that he's planned a search of the landfill and it would take place in August 2025, so the month that this episode airs. Now, here is what
I think what happened is, well, it's a whole lot more technical and difficult to say what happened to him. But when you look at all the aspects of everything, a lot of people are pointing the fingers at mom, dad. But if you get right down to it, the odd picture, if you will, the odd scenario or the odd thing in this whole issue is Isaac. Isaac is, I believe Isaac's the one that had something to do with little baby DeOrr's disappearance.
And any idea if that was some sort of accident or some sort of something that was done on purpose based on your investigation?
It's more of looking into the mind of the person. I believe Isaac and the grandfather had been friends for a long time, and Isaac had seen a lot of images of Jessica, the family, and then I think in Isaac's mind he had some type of image that he could be with Jessica. He liked Jessica and was infatuated with her, and I believe that he thought this was an opportunity. If I get rid of the child, then I can have Jessica. That gets rid of Vernal, that gets rid of the child, and I can have Jessica.
Now, you've been up there to the campsite, and you brought your dogs up there too. I think you've been up there a few times, haven't you?
I've been up there 5 times.
5 times. Has anything stuck out to you? Anything, brought to your attention?
Yeah. The first time we went, the dogs alerted on a certain area. And what's strange about that is we didn't find anything at that point in time. So the sheriff asked us we had to leave. They would deal with it. They would come in and search later for that area. But what's interesting in that is Isaac puts himself there. And the family or Jessica had seen Isaac in that area for a long time or for a short, brief time, but Isaac puts himself there for a long time.
Where the dogs hit?
Where the dogs hit. And see, when baby DeOrr goes missing, what is the other thing that is missing in this whole ordeal is Isaac. Isaac and baby DeOrr are both missing for a long period of time. So the last time we went was kind of a strange thing, but we decided to go outside the scope of where the dogs alerted, and we went up on top of the mountain, and there we found an old jacket. The jacket didn't have any pockets in it, so there wouldn't be any food in the pockets or anything. Something had to be wrapped up in this jacket in order for animals to scratch and tear at it and bite at it. And from what I know from going into school and all, it did appear to have a lot of blood stains on it.
And was it a child's jacket or like a man's jacket, adult jacket?
It's like a fleece pullover, a large pullover jacket that you couldn't really tell because it was torn to shreds, and it didn't have any labels on it. So you couldn't really tell what size, and plus it's been out in the weather, so it's shrinkage and everything else. It wasn't a child's, it was an adult's. And Jessica did make comments about when she did see Isaac that it appeared that he was carrying a 2-tone tackle box. And this jacket appears to be a 2-tone jacket, fleece over pullover.
Okay, so you said that was on top of the mountain. For people that aren't familiar, how far is the top of the mountain from the campsite? Could you walk it?
Oh, you can walk it. It's difficult for a person to walk it. My canines can run it. But for a person, it's difficult. And if you want to know my opinion of what I feel like had transpired, I feel like that Isaac could have gotten rid of the child in this jacket, put it somewhere. Animals came back that night, got it, and toted it right up the mountain. It just happened to fall out of the jacket, and they kept on going. But see, that mountain, when you climb up that mountain, there's a top flat area, and it is beautiful. But on the backside of this mountain, it is steep. It is like straight down. You can't have dogs on that side of the mountain. So if you're going to find anything, it's going to be very, very difficult in that terrain on the backside of that mountain where it would have been continued to be carried.
So do you think we'll ever find DeOrr?
We can. And the only way we're going to be able to do this is to have so many volunteers and supporters and people out there on foot and just track every inch of that campground from the campground all the way up the mountain to the backside of the mountain. Now, that seems like a big feat, and it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be done if people are willing to come together on a certain time and just do it. And I believe we can find something of him.
So we have one sheriff who says that Jessica and Vernal are suspects, and 2 who do not. We have 2 PIs who believe they're to blame, and 1 who does not. Again, it's frustrating. And what we know for sure is that DeOrr is still missing. Which brings me right to our call to action. Please keep sharing DeOrr's case. I know it's a popular one, but I feel like most of the commentary that I've seen around this is really based off that initial information in 2015. That doesn't really give us the most well-rounded picture of what's happened in the investigation and where it stands today. These cases are constantly changing and evolving with new information, which is really why I wanted to cover his case now. So please take a moment and share. This is obviously still a very active investigation, and I think a lot of people have hope that DeOrr will eventually be found. As a reminder, 2-year-old DeOrr Kunz Jr. was last seen on July 10, 2015, near Leadore, Idaho in Lemhi County. He has hazel eyes, and at that time, blonde hair. He was approximately 3 feet tall and weighed about 30 pounds. He was last seen wearing cowboy boots, a camouflage jacket, and blue pajama pants. Anyone with information is asked to call the Lemhi County Sheriff's Office at 208-756-8980. But as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time. Voices for Justice is hosted and produced by me, Sarah Turney, and is a Voices for Justice media original. If you love what we do here, please don't forget to follow, rate, and review the show in your podcast player. It's an easy and free way to help us and help more people find these cases in need of justice. Welcome to the Secret After Show. The studio door is open and our emotional support puppies, Popcorn and Heber, are in the room. Now let's go right into the case because we have a lot to talk about. First, I have to give a shout out to the East Idaho News. They did such an excellent job following this case and really posting those uncut interviews that I obviously played so many for you. They just did a really excellent job, I think, in covering every aspect of this case. Now, of course, I want to talk about the way that law enforcement and the PI shaped this case. I just find it to be really, really interesting. It was I don't know, not very often in cases do I feel like they're led by these people. And so much of DeOrr's case, so much of what is out there is law enforcement and really these PIs shaping it all. Now, I didn't mention this in the episode because I'm not really here to sway you one way or the other, and this is just conjecture, but many people have accused Kline in particular of being motivated by media attention and money. Of course, I don't know. I will say, though, unfortunately, PIs can be kind of unreliable in true crime. Sometimes they fit that category almost of psychics where many of them have been caught scamming families. And again, don't come after me, Philip Kline. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying that that is one of the more popular theories I saw out there. I also did find something really interesting about his reasoning that I wanted to bring up here. In one breath, he says that he believes Grandpa Bob that DeOrr was at the campsite. He's like, we know DeOrr was at the campsite because Grandpa Bob told us that. But he also says that he's helping DeOrr's parents cover up an accident. So it's which one is it? Is he telling the truth? Is he covering things up? I don't know. Some of the evidence that he presented just felt a little flimsy to me. Like there being two receipts. I mean, I don't think making a purchase and then seeing something else that you need to buy and making a second purchase is really compelling. I don't know. That's just me. I could totally be wrong. But those were just things that I was that it didn't convince me, to be totally honest. And I think really that's why I wanted to use so much of that audio. I feel like some of these people, some of the PIs specifically, made me feel some type of way. And so I tried to remove as much as my opinion and my bias from all of that and just tell you what happened, play you the audio, so that way you can make your own decisions. Now let's talk about media discrepancies. I'm really happy to report that there wasn't a ton. It was kind of the run-of-the-mill stuff, times, dates, but nothing that really couldn't be fleshed out. So shout out to everybody who was covering the case, especially back in 2015. It was pretty solid. Now on to our heroes of the episode. First is Nate Eaton, the journalist covering this for the East Idaho News, the man that you heard in a few of those interviews there. Again, I said it at the top of this after show, but just shout out to him, hero of the episode, for continuing it, for really getting all these interviews. My next two are really coupled together, and that is Steve Penner and John Bennett from the Lemhi County Sheriff's Office, really for being there from day one to today. Even after retiring, Penner did this lengthy interview with Nate Eaton. It's just so great to see so many people greatly invested in a case like this, and it really feels like they all care a lot. Now let's move on to our segment of hope. This is from early August of this year, August 8th, from KSL TV 5 News in Utah. And it's written by Mary Culbertson and Kennedy Camarena. Essentially, this is about a 14-year-old girl named Maya. She is giving interviews, so I feel more comfortable saying at least her first name. Maya went missing in the mountains while she was on this multi-day hike with her family. Apparently, at one point, she kind of just strayed away from the group to use the bathroom and got lost and didn't come back. It is the most chilling, the scariest scenario. But they deployed search teams, they had dogs, they had searchers on foot, other hikers were out there looking for her, and she was actually found about a day later, it looks like, by a helicopter. A helicopter just spotted her. It really is the shortest and sweetest little segment of hope. It seems like she was totally fine. Everybody was fine. Everybody just came together and found her. And obviously it makes our segment of hope because she was found alive. But I really, especially in light of DeOrr's case, I just thought it was like the perfect segment of hope to show the best case scenario of someone going missing in the wilderness like that. She went missing. About 24 hours later, a helicopter spotted her and she was found. And that's because of that immediate response, because of everybody, including not only the search teams and all these wonderful professionals who came out, but the other hikers around them, just everybody coming together, and she was found. I love it, and that's why it makes our segment of hope. But as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time.